Gregor McGregor. So Gregor McGregor had a memoir written about him in 1820 when he was in his mid-30s, which, you know, to be famous enough to have somebody else write a book about you is a pretty impressive thing.
Yeah, that is really impressive. I didn't realise that someone could write a memoir about someone else.
I think it's memoirs, so it's memories of multiple people.
Okay.
So this is what Michael Rafter had to say. The author has undertaken to deliver a round, unvarnished tale of the unfortunate transactions in which General McGregor has for so long a period borne so distinguished a part. Convinced that however he may fail in his principal design, his exertions will at least have the effect of deterring others who, from inexperience or a spirit of enterprise, might feel inclined once more to follow the fortunes of a needy and spiritless adventure. Not necessarily a positive book.
Yeah, so this is a sort of a warning.
Yeah.
A needy and spiritless adventurer.
Yeah. It is a warning, though, that failed.
Oh.
So, Gregor McGregor was born in 1776, which was actually 2 years after there was a lift on the ban on being a McGregor, which for about 150 years there you weren't allowed to be a McGregor on like punishment of death. You had to change your name, change your kids' names.
What? Is this like a Scottish like freedom fighter hero or something that was like...
It was clan wars that led to the banning of McGregors.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah. That's wild.
I mean, massacres were done, as I understand it. Which I don't understand it well, for any McGregors watching.
Any McGregors, please explain in the comments below.
Why are you illegal?
Yeah, so he bought his entry into the British Army pretty much as young as he could, and then he pretty much as soon as he could bought the title of captain. In total, he spent about £1,350.
He bought the title.
Bought it.
You buy the title of captain.
He bought it.
But that's not like a land ownership thing. Like literally just the title of that's a job, isn't it, captain?
Yeah, and he was like a young asshole, so he made himself pretty unpopular with the younger / less financially well endowed recruits.
Shocking that someone would purchase the title of captain for themselves would be an asshole.
Yeah. So he was very obsessed with the uniform, which got on some people's nerves. He eventually, according to Rafter, he eventually left the British Army in 1810 after some trivial argument with a superior officer got so serious that he had to resign.
Wow. Imagine spending loads of money on a thing and then leaving.
The money back.
Oh, he got the money back, did he?
He got the money back. It was a normal enough thing that they were just like, yeah, you've only been here 7 years. Take your money back.
God! Did he get? Does he get like a salary for being a captain, or?
I think he did. Yeah.
How the
but as far as I understand it as well, around that time, a lot of the money that you made came from your exploits.
By what? By looting corpses, or?
Doing a little bit of colonialism.
So he floated around Edinburgh and London for a little while. He had a rich wife, so he went around London variously styling himself as colonel, as the heir of various barons and earls and things, as a knight of the Portuguese Order of Christ is another claim of his, and also he claimed to be the chief of Clan McGregor.
Oh my god.
Which I'm pretty sure at that time there was not a chief of Clan McGregor.
So he was claiming to be the mysterious lost successor.
No, I think he was claiming to be the chief. I think he was claiming that in London much more than in Edinburgh. Yeah.
You can say anything about Scotland and London, let's be fair.
Exactly. But his wife died and he needed a new source of income. So he went to Venezuela.
Obviously.
Yeah, there were revolutionary activities against Spain. He had some minor military successes, which he overblew massively, but he also led a very successful retreat from the Spanish that was the stuff of military legend. So he'd heard that if he took the Floridas from the Spanish, that Americans would love him, the locals would love him, and he would, get lots of money. So he went around the states gathering up troops and also taking a lot of investment. He was telling people, once I capture the land, I'll give you fertile land or your money back. So they gave him $160,000 or something.
Oh my god,
that's
invested.
quite a lot of money.
Holy
It's quite a lot of
shit!
money.
How much is that updated for modern?
No, I don't think so.
Wow.
Fucking hell!
So he and his troops invaded Amelia Island first, which was the easiest target because it was a bunch of pirates and criminals for the most part, or at least for a significant part.
Okay, I ran out of battery and I'm re-recording some bits, so you're just going to have to imagine that Nat and Jen are reacting in real time. So McGregor and his troops invaded Amelia Island and they won without a fight because the Spanish overestimated their forces. He quickly became quite unpopular with the locals, most of whom just left, and also with his troops, who he wasn't paying. His money was running low, and so it was obvious that he wasn't going to be able to hold on. What do you do in that situation? Of course, you leave your troops to fend for themselves. Meanwhile, he went to Jamaica to have some commemorative coins made. The first one said Amelia Veni Vidi Vici, I came, I saw, I conquered. And the second one, translated into English, says Liberty for the Floridas under the leadership of McGregor.
Oh my god.
We saw, we came, we conquered. Wow.
This quickly became a recurring theme as he would get troops, attempt to conquer a place, and then leave as soon as the going got tough. Rafter, the author of McGregor's biography, actually paid to join his troop after his brother went missing, was caught in a crossfire of a previous expedition. With absolutely no help or leadership from McGregor, Rafter and the other troops conquered a small town. McGregor took a couple of days to be persuaded that this has actually happened, but when they could persuade him, he came down and declared himself His Majesty the Inca of New Granada, and then he left again.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
By this point, he was famously awful in Venezuela, in Jamaica, where his wife and son lived, and in Britain, where this book had been published. So he disappeared for a few months and returned with a new venture.
Anyway, so he's back in London. In the meantime, he has acquired a bunch of land in Nicaragua. He's been given it by a local king. And, so this land is fertile, it's got good water, it's partially developed, but what it really needs is investment. So he is there trying to get investment from people so that he can develop it, and he can be he's the cazique of this place. So he's the man in charge of Poye. Is the name of the place. He's the cazique of Poye, and so he wants it to become a great nation, and he wants Scots to be the people of this great nation. Being one of Clan McGregor, being the chief of Clan McGregor, possibly. He wants to win one for the Scots. So a bunch of people buy government bonds. He sells a lot of government bonds. He puts out a pamphlet about how wonderful the place is. And then a bunch of people want to move there. So they hundreds of people, 7 ships worth of people,
Wow.
to get on ships and sail over there. When they get there, what they've discovered is that Poye doesn't exist. He has been given this land, but the king had no idea that he was going to be selling it. He had no idea that people were going to be coming over. And the only sign of previous white people settlement there is a graveyard. So they just start dying. He individually saw that everybody on the first ship off. He was like, "Oh, it's great that you're going to be going to settle this place that I have," and they just sent them off to oblivion.
This is just the most fucking grim Animal Crossing Tom Nook character.
this is something he's like almost entirely made up. The land is completely like, it's not fertile land. It's jungle, so I guess it's like a thin layer of fertility on top of a lot of not that. There was one guy who went over thinking that he was going to be the princess of Poyet's official shoemaker, who like left a family behind to go and be the official shoemaker to the princess. Yeah, awful.
It's a bit
and
dire,
so like this was a massive scandal.
All in all, not a good time.
Yeah,
not a good time.
A scandal. But he went back to London. Like McGregor kept running this grift, even though people started to begin to suspect it was a grift. Like, especially after articles were published about this, some people made it back and started telling people about it. But
Jesus.
But subsequent rounds of investment thought that it was a scam, mostly because previous rounds of investment hadn't delivered the returns that they were promising, not because it was all a complete lie. And then once it stopped working in London, he went to France. He did the same thing there. French authorities knew that this place didn't exist, so they got quite suspicious. But he managed to get away with it somehow, and like one of his associates was arrested, and he wasn't ever charged with anything. He ran this grift for the best part of 15 years in London and in France. And then when it stopped working... Do you know
how many people did he bring over?
I have no idea. Hundreds of people died. How many people lost their money? I don't have a clue. Loads. When it stopped working and when his wife died, he moved back to Venezuela, where Simón Bolivar was no longer... he died in 1830. And the people who remembered him for his successes, and he stayed there until he died and was buried with full military honours.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. This is a $1 bill from Poyet, by the way. People exchange their life savings for Poyet dollars.
Oh my god.
It's got his name on it. By order of His Highness Gregor.
Yeah. He printed a lot of money in his time for different governments.
What a little creep.
Yeah. So that's the end. I don't know why I put question mark.
I mean,
or is it?
Yeah, or is it?
Hey, I mean, he comes across as a thoroughly unpleasant man.
Yeah.
Who managed to scam an awful lot of people and cause an awful lot of hardship and still get away with it.
And still have...
What a dick.
Yeah.
What a dick.
The other McGrath brother paid to join...
Rafter. He paid to join so that he could rescue his brother.
So these people had to pay to join, navies and armies and shit. What a fucking scam.